All right. My next guest is a former writer and the showrunner for The Simpsons. Now, he recently wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post titled, "One of the defenses of Trump is literally a TV cartoon joke." Please welcome to the Dan Jones Show, Bill Oakley in the house. Hey, man. Now, listen. I want to show this clip that you're referring to in the op-ed from The Simpsons, and we're going to talk about it.
Great.
Convicted of a crime I didn't even commit. Ha! Attempted murder. Now, honestly, what is that? Do they give a Nobel Prize for attempted chemistry, do they?
All right, so help me understand the way that you see that actual clip from Sideshow Bob being used today.
So, that's a joke. Obviously, it's extreme. It's an absurdity designed to get a laugh. The thing is that there's so much insincerity, and I believe the GOP arguments, as much as there is in Sideshow Bob's arguments, that there's just kind of an endless torrent of nonsense. That being, I would say, probably the most egregious example.
Yeah. And so the idea that he was attempting to do the quid pro quo, but didn't actually do the quo on the quid, that's that whole line of reasoning?
Right.
He just didn't actually get a chance to do it, so therefore nothing to see here?
I find it rather laughable, don't you?
Yeah, or it kind of makes me want to cry as well. But lest you think we're making this up, I want to show you a clip of Jim Jordan, who actually seems to be channeling your joke. Jim Jordan.
When did the meeting happen again?
Never did.
You don't know who was in the meeting?
Which meeting are you referring to?
The meeting that never happened. Who was in it?
Right. In other words, part of what makes that whole character work is that if somebody looks serious and they look like they know what they're talking about and they're kind of playing the part, they can say the most absurd things and get away with it in The Simpsons. But it looks like we're starting to see that happen in Washington, D.C.
It really works really well, don't you think?
Why does it work so well?
I think anybody coming out with some degree of authority, wearing a tie and a jacket, they can say anything they want, and a certain segment of the population is going to believe it because they already want to believe it, perhaps, is one reason. I think also that a certain segment of the population is gullible, and I think that playing to that is one of the last-ditch desperation strategies the GOP is using.
I want to get your eyes on this as a TV producer. There's a lot of complex stuff that Democrats are trying to communicate. Are they doing a good job or not?
I think they're doing a fairly good job. I think that's the thing. It's not that complicated. I mean, this isn't like Watergate where we already know kind of what happened. In Watergate, the pieces of the puzzle were coming out every week, and there were multiple different incidents that had to be took many months. It's an incident that we all kind of know what happened. We've now had 8 people testify to effectively the same thing. It's not that complicated, but it's a little complicated. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem, because what this ultimately is about, as I'm sure we all know, is not necessarily making a clear story. It's convincing enough of the American public that what happened is to sway enough of American public that 20 Republican senators might actually vote, in this thing. The Democrats are trying to paint a very easily understandable narrative. And this is a fairly complicated subject, but I think they're doing a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. The Republican response is to just throw things right and left. 9, 10 different things, crazy accusations, things about Hunter Biden, things about Burisma, things about the whistleblower. And it is hard to keep this stuff in your head. Yeah. That's the thing. There's so many things happening every day that even a person who pays a lot of attention has a hard time remembering what happened a week ago.
Or sometimes a tweet ago, because things just go so
right,
quickly.
Right.
I want to thank you for using an unusual skill set to help us understand a very unusual moment in American history. Give this brother a round of applause. Thank you for being on the Dan Jones Show. I want to thank all my guests. I want to thank you as well for watching. I'm Dan Jones. Peace and love for one another.